The Bionic Woman was a groundbreaking sci-fi series that captivated audiences with its thrilling action and the unforgettable Jaime Sommers, played by Lindsay Wagner. The show became a fan favorite, featuring a talented cast that brought its futuristic adventures to life. Sadly, many of the actors who appeared in the series have since passed away. In this video, we remember 38 stars from the Bionic Woman who are no longer with us, honoring their incredible careers, personal lives, and lasting contributions to television. Join us as we pay tribute to these beloved actors and their enduring legacies. Christopher Stone played Chris Williams in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at 36, a courageous and charming ally to Jaime Sommers. Though his character exuded confidence, Stone faced career struggles that left him disillusioned. Constantly typecast in action roles, he found it difficult to break into more serious acting, and as his wife, actress Dee Wallace, saw her career flourish, he wrestled with feelings of inadequacy. Despite a loving marriage, financial stress and professional disappointments weighed heavily on him. They had one daughter, but Stone often worried he was failing as a husband and father. As he aged, his health declined, and despite his attempts to maintain his strength, his body ultimately betrayed him. On October 20, 1995, he suffered a fatal heart attack at just 55, leaving behind a grieving family and a career that never fully reached its potential. Richard Anderson played Oscar Goldman in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at the age of 50, embodying the composed yet commanding head of the Office of Scientific Intelligence. His character was a symbol of authority and stability, always supporting Jaime Sommers in her missions with wisdom and strategy. However, Anderson's own life was far from steady. Though he was a respected actor, he was never a true Hollywood star, often overshadowed by leading men of his time. He married 3 times, each ending in divorce, and despite having 3 daughters, he struggled to maintain close relationships with them. As his career declined, he faced deep loneliness, retreating from the public eye. In his later years, health issues took their toll, and he spent much of his time in quiet isolation, reminiscing about a career that never quite reached its full potential. He passed away on August 31, 2017, at the age of 91 from natural causes, his legacy as a character actor largely forgotten by modern audiences. Martha Scott became Helen Elgin in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at the age of 64, portraying Jaime's warm and devoted adoptive mother. Her on-screen presence exuded comfort and stability, a stark contrast to her tumultuous personal life. Scott had once been a revered actress, even earning an Academy Award nomination, but as Hollywood aged, it cast her aside, leaving her with few roles and dwindling opportunities. She fought against irrelevance, but despite her efforts, she became another forgotten star. Her personal life was equally tragic. Though she was married, it was an unhappy union plagued by long periods of separation and unspoken resentment. She had one son, but their relationship was strained, and she spent her later years yearning for a connection that never came. With time, her health declined, and she faced the indignities of old age alone, her once bright spirit dimmed by regret and loneliness. On May 28, 2003, she passed away at the age of 90 from natural causes. Martin E. Brooks portrayed Dr. Rudy Wells in 1976 at age 51, the brilliant but compassionate scientist responsible for Jaime's bionic enhancements. As a character, he was a father figure, always offering guidance and care. Off-screen, Brooks was intensely dedicated to his craft but never achieved widespread fame, often feeling like a supporting player in both his career and personal life. Despite his success in television, he remained unmarried and childless, struggling with profound loneliness. While his colleagues moved on to bigger opportunities, Brooks found himself stuck in minor roles, watching his dreams slip further away. In his final years, his health began to decline, and he withdrew from social circles, spending much of his time alone. On December 7, 2015, he died at the age of 90 from natural causes, leaving behind a respectable but often overlooked legacy in Hollywood. Ford Rainey played Jim Elgin in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at 68, portraying Jamie's gentle and devoted adoptive father. His character provided warmth and stability, but Rainey's real life was one of hardship and struggle. A lifelong character actor, he spent decades in Hollywood but never found the fame or financial success he longed for. Though he was married with children, his dedication to his craft often kept him away from home, leading to strained relationships with his family. In his later years, he suffered multiple strokes, leaving him physically weakened and dependent on care. The once proud and hardworking actor found himself confined to a life of declining health, his independence slipping away. He passed away on July 25, 2005, at the age of 96 due to complications from strokes, his name gradually fading from Hollywood's memory. Don Porter played Dr. James Courtney in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at the age of 64. His character, a calm and composed physician, was a beacon of wisdom and reliability in a world filled with high-stakes espionage and danger. Off-screen, Porter's life was marked by professional frustration. After finding moderate success in sitcoms like Private Secretary, he watched younger actors eclipse him, leaving him relegated to supporting roles. His marriage to Peggy Converse, though enduring, was strained by his mounting bitterness and regret. Their two children, distant and resentful of his emotional absence, rarely visited, leaving him to grapple with his declining health and solitude. As the years wore on, the once respected actor faced mounting medical bills and the slow decay of his once sharp mind. Weakened and alone, he succumbed to natural causes on February 11, 1997, at 84, his final days spent in a haze of regret and fading memories. John Reilly played the enigmatic and unpredictable Hobber in The Bionic Woman in 1977 at 43, a mysterious figure whose true loyalties and motives remained shrouded in ambiguity. Reilly had a long career in television, best known for his work in General Hospital and Dynasty, yet despite steady employment, he often voiced frustration at never landing a defining role that would cement his legacy. His first marriage ended in a bitter divorce due to infidelity, and while he later remarried, the weight of his past mistakes haunted him. His daughters, Caitlin and Megan, maintained a strained relationship with him, as his relentless focus on his career had often left them feeling neglected. In his later years, he battled diabetes and declining heart health, his once commanding presence diminished by illness. On January 9, 2021, at the age of 86, he suffered a fatal heart attack, passing away quietly, his legacy fading into the shadows of Hollywood's past. Roger Perry took on the role of the meticulous and pragmatic Dr. Thomas Tharp in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at 43, portraying a scientist whose precision and methodical nature made him integral to bionic advancements. Perry had a promising career, making appearances in Star Trek, The $6 Million Man, and other notable shows, yet he often struggled to break free from the confines of guest star roles. His marriage to comedian Joe and Worley ended in divorce, and though he later remarried, he frequently expressed regret over the mistakes of his past. As he aged, his health deteriorated, and he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, a battle that left him physically and emotionally drained. Mounting medical expenses placed him under severe financial strain, and despite his contributions to television, he found himself largely forgotten by the industry. On July 12, 2018, he succumbed to the disease at the age of 85. Jack Kelly played the enigmatic Charles Keyes in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at the age of 49. Keyes was a shadowy figure, weaving through the world of espionage with motives often unclear, a role that suited Kelly's naturally charismatic but secretive nature. Kelly, who had once been a household name as Bart Maverick in Maverick, faced a cruel descent after the show's end. Hollywood abandoned him, forcing him into real estate and small-time politics to make ends meet. His marriage to actress Mae Wynn disintegrated under the weight of financial stress and his increasing dependence on alcohol. Despite a second marriage, loneliness followed him, as did a gambling addiction that left him bankrupt. By the 1990s, his health was failing, and with no money for proper care, he spent his last days in pain, suffering a fatal stroke on November 7, 1992, at 65. Once a TV heartthrob, he died penniless and largely forgotten, his name erased from the Hollywood spotlight. George Maharis took on the role of the hardened Sergeant Bob Welton in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at 48. A no-nonsense military officer, Welton was a man of duty, but Maharis himself lived a life of turbulence and scandal. Best known for Route 66, he was a rising star until Hollywood blacklisted him after a series of arrests, including a 1967 scandal that shattered his career. Isolated and struggling to regain credibility, Maharis drifted between forgettable roles and a failed music career. His love life was just as tragic. He never married, preferring fleeting affairs that ended in heartbreak. As he aged, his declining health and a long battle with hepatitis left him weak and reclusive. A life once filled with promise had dwindled into obscurity, and on May 24, 2023, at 94, he died from complications of the disease, his legacy reduced to whispers of a career that could have been. James Olsen portrayed the relentless Rod Kyler in The Bionic Woman in 1977 at 47, a determined and fearless investigator whose pursuit of the truth often placed him in perilous situations. A talented but often overlooked actor, Olsen had gained recognition for his work in The Andromeda Strain, yet he never achieved true Hollywood stardom, a fact that left him perpetually insecure and searching for greater success. His marriage to actress Marsha Mason ended in divorce, the relationship collapsing under the weight of his career disappointments and emotional distance. His only son, Eric, grew resentful of his father's absence, and their strained relationship left Olsen with a deep sense of guilt. In his later years, he battled progressive dementia, which robbed him of his independence and left him in a care facility, largely forgotten by the industry he had devoted his life to. On April 17, 2022, he passed away at the age of 91. John Houseman portrayed the authoritative Dr. Franklin in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at 74. A respected senior scientist on the show, Franklin's stern yet intellectual demeanor mirrored Houseman's real-life presence. Houseman, an acclaimed producer and actor, found late career success in The Paper Chase, but his journey was filled with hardship. As a producer, he battled constant betrayals and financial setbacks, and his shift to acting came out of necessity rather than passion. His marriage to Joan Courtney was one of duty rather than love, and despite having a son, he remained emotionally distant. In his later years, Houseman suffered immense physical pain from spinal cancer, which left him bedridden and unable to work. With no way to escape his deteriorating condition, he passed away on October 31, 1988, at 86, a once commanding figure reduced to a frail shadow of his former self, his voice silenced by the relentless march of time. Dennis Patrick played the scheming Carlton Harris in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at 58, portraying a manipulative businessman willing to do whatever it took to get ahead. With a career spanning decades, he was best known for Dark Shadows and Dallas, but despite his talent, he was often typecast, leaving him bitter about missed opportunities. His personal life was marked by turmoil. His first marriage ended in divorce due to his struggles with alcoholism, and his second marriage to Barbara Kaysen, though lasting, was marred by financial difficulties. His only son, David, became estranged, leaving Patrick feeling abandoned in his later years. As roles dried up, he became reclusive, spending his final years in isolation. On October 13, 2002, at 84, tragedy struck when his home caught fire, and he perished in the flames, his once promising career and personal connections long behind him. Jim McMullen played Casey in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at 40, portraying a brave and quick-thinking ally whose loyalty never wavered. McMullen had the looks of a leading man but never found lasting stardom, his career a series of near misses and fleeting successes. While he secured roles in Dallas and Beyond Westworld, he was never the first choice, always overshadowed by more bankable stars. His marriage to Helen McMullen, though lasting, was tested by his growing despair over an unfulfilled career. They had a son, Sean, but McMullen's mood swings and frustration created an emotional distance between them. In his later years, tragedy struck. Diagnosed with ALS, his once strong body betrayed him, robbing him of speech and movement. The vibrant man who had once exuded effortless charm was left trapped in his own body, unable to even express his pain. On May 31, 2019, he succumbed to the disease at 82. Lou Ayres joined The Bionic Woman in 1977 at 69, playing the wise and moralistic Dr. Elijah Cooper, a brilliant scientist whose guidance and intellect proved invaluable in Jaime Sommers' bionic journey. Ayres had once been a major Hollywood leading man, best remembered for All Quiet on the Western Front, but his career suffered greatly when he declared himself a conscientious objector during World War II, leading to widespread blacklisting. Though he later regained some footing in the industry, his stardom never fully recovered. His personal life was equally tumultuous, married 3 times, including a highly publicized and ultimately unhappy union with Ginger Rogers. He struggled to find lasting companionship. His only son, Justin, remained distant, and in his later years, Ayres lived largely in solitude, grappling with the legacy of his career and the controversy that had shaped his life. After suffering a severe stroke, he fell into a coma, and on December 30, 1996, he passed away at the age of 88. Warren J. Kemmerling played Warden Cooper in The Bionic Woman in 1977 at 53, embodying a hardened, disciplined leader whose iron-fisted rule maintained order. His career was built on playing tough authority figures, yet behind the scenes, he was a man plagued by deep insecurity over his fading relevance. Once a sought-after character actor, he found himself increasingly overlooked, forced to take lesser roles in made-for-TV movies. His personal life was no less bleak. Married for decades, his wife grew weary of his brooding temperament, and their home became a silent battlefield. They had no children, and as his health declined, he spent his last years in profound isolation, haunted by regrets. Suffering from chronic respiratory issues, he struggled with every breath, his body rebelling against him as he faced his final days alone. On January 3, 2005, he passed away at 80, his death barely acknowledged by the industry that had once embraced him. Katherine Helmont portrayed the brilliant and compassionate Dr. Harkins in The Bionic Woman in 1977 at the age of 48. Dr. Harkins was a warm and intelligent scientist, deeply dedicated to her work, always driven by a strong sense of justice. Helmont became famous for Soap and Who's the Boss, earning accolades, but behind the success, she struggled with self-doubt and a deep sense of loneliness. Her marriage to David Christian lasted for decades, yet she secretly mourned never having children, a regret that grew heavier with time. As Hollywood shifted toward younger talent, her roles dwindled, leaving her feeling discarded despite her decades of contributions. In her later years, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, a cruel disease that slowly stripped away her identity. She spent her final years lost in confusion, unable to remember the career and loved ones that had once defined her life. She passed away on February 23, 2019, at 89. Bernard Behrens played Beaumont in The Bionic Woman in 1977 at 51, portraying a refined and intelligent figure whose charm and cunning often proved invaluable. A respected stage actor, Behrens found steady work in television and film but never reached mainstream fame. He devoted himself to acting, often at the cost of his personal happiness. His marriage to actress Dora Matthews was filled with passion but also frequent separations, as his career kept them apart. They had one son, Daniel, but Barron's absence left an irreparable strain on their bond. In his later years, he struggled with worsening Parkinson's disease, his once commanding presence eroded by trembling hands and a failing voice. The actor who had once spoken with such authority could barely whisper in his final days, a prisoner in his own failing body. On September 19, 2012, he died at 85, his legacy fading like the final curtain call of a play no one remained to watch. Vito Scotti played the cunning and resourceful Romero in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at the age of 58. Romero was a charming trickster, always managing to escape danger with his quick wit and adaptability. Scotti, a versatile character actor, had a career spanning decades, appearing in The Godfather, Gilligan's Island, and countless TV shows, yet he remained in the shadows of Hollywood's elite. Despite his talents, he was often cast in small, stereotypical roles, leaving him frustrated by his lack of true stardom. His marriage to Irene lasted, but his relentless work schedule created emotional distance, making him feel like a stranger in his own home. He had 2 children but was rarely present in their lives, leading to strained relationships. In his later years, his health declined rapidly due to lung cancer, and as the disease progressed, he was left weak and unable to work. He passed away on June 5, 1996, at the age of 78. Jack Jing played Chief Inspector Hansen in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at the age of 45. Portraying a no-nonsense officer whose discipline and leadership were essential in maintaining order. Despite his strong on-screen presence, his career was marked by near misses and disappointment. He worked steadily in television, appearing in shows like Mannix and The A-Team, but never reached the leading man status he longed for. His personal life was just as turbulent. His first marriage ended in a bitter divorce, and his second, though lasting, was marred by periods of estrangement. His children, growing up with an often absent father, struggled to form a strong bond with him. As he aged, his health declined, and he spent his final years in isolation, battling the loneliness that comes with being a forgotten figure in Hollywood. He passed away on September 9, 2022, at 90 from natural causes, leaving behind a career filled with unfulfilled aspirations and a life overshadowed by regret. Melinda Fee took on the role of the determined and resilient Tammy Cross in The Bionic Woman in 1977 at the age of 35. Tammy Cross was fearless, always ready to take on challenges headfirst, embodying strength and perseverance. Fee had a steady acting career with roles in The Invisible Woman and various TV series, but she never achieved the breakthrough she longed for. She married, but the relationship grew cold, ending in a quiet and painful divorce. Without children to lean on, she faced her later years in solitude, reflecting on missed opportunities and dreams that never fully materialized. As Hollywood moved on, work became scarce, leaving her feeling abandoned by the industry she had fought so hard to be part of. A sudden, massive stroke struck her down, robbing her of any chance to enjoy what remained of her life. She passed away on March 24, 2020, at the age of 77, largely forgotten by the world she had once dreamed of conquering. Rebecca Balding played the energetic and charismatic Parker in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at the age of 28. Parker was lively, always quick with a sharp remark or clever plan, bringing energy to every scene. Balding had a promising career, appearing in Soap, Charmed, and various horror films, yet true stardom always seemed just out of reach. She married director James L. Conway, but despite a seemingly stable relationship, she withdrew from Hollywood, struggling with the realization that her best years in the industry were behind her. The absence of children left her with an unspoken loneliness, a quiet regret she carried into old age. Her greatest battle came in the form of ovarian cancer, a devastating diagnosis that progressed rapidly. The disease took its toll, leaving her frail and in constant pain. She passed away on July 18, 2022, at the age of 73, her legacy overshadowed by time, remembered only by devoted fans of a bygone era. Annette Charles played the mysterious Allura in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at 28, her character adding a sense of intrigue to the series. Though she later gained recognition as Cha-Cha in Grease, her acting career was plagued by disappointment. Typecast and overlooked, she struggled to secure meaningful roles, leading her to shift to teaching later in life. While she found some fulfillment in education, the sting of Hollywood rejection never fully faded. She married but found little solace, as her declining health placed strain on her personal relationships. Years of smoking caught up to her, and she was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. The disease progressed rapidly, leaving her frail and in immense pain. As she lay in a hospital bed, she reflected on a career that had never reached its potential. She passed away on August 3, 2011, at 63, a once promising actress whose final years were marked by suffering and a lingering sense of what could have been. Arch Johnson played Commissioner Sam Hart in The Bionic Woman in 1976 at 54, portraying a tough and strategic leader who commanded respect. In reality, his life was a series of struggles masked by his imposing on-screen presence. Though he had a long career in film and television, appearing in projects like Cool Hand Luke and Bonanza, he was never more than a character actor, always playing second fiddle to bigger stars. His personal life was equally turbulent, his marriage suffered due to his workaholic nature, and his children resented his frequent absences. In his later years, his financial stability crumbled due to poor investments, forcing him to sell his home. Cancer took hold of his body, leaving him weak and dependent on others, a devastating fate for a man who had once portrayed such strength. He died on October 9, 1997, at 75, his final years filled with illness, regret, and a desperate attempt to hold on to the life he had once built. Who is your favorite character in The Bionic Woman? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.